Hi, and welcome to the Virtually Yours podcast, Outsourcing Mysteries Exposed, the no BS hustle-free podcast for business owners who outsource or provide outsourcing services. I'm your host, Rosie, virtual assistant advocate and owner of Virtually Yours, the Virtual Assistant Network. Let's get started. Hi, and welcome to Outsourcing Mysteries Exposed. Today, I want to talk to you about some common mistakes that VAs make in their business that can really hold them back or make them be perceived as less than professional. So let's get started. The first thing that I see some virtual assistants doing, especially when they first start up, is offering too many services. When you're offering a really broad range of services, I understand why. You want to make sure that you can support as many people as possible, and you don't want to miss out on being able to support someone. But unfortunately, that's actually not a great strategy. I think sometimes it's better, if you're not sure what sort of service you want to offer, is to actually just sort of dabble in one or two areas to start with and see how that goes, rather than offering everything all at once. And this is because it's so confusing for your audience to understand, what it is you actually specialize in. It can be quite hard to even explain to someone what you do when you're specialized. So to explain to them when you're offering everything under the sun is even harder. So if you're wondering if you're offering too many services, ask yourself, is it easy for my best friend to explain to people and to sell my services to someone else? Is it easy for them to identify someone who would be my ideal client, someone to work with me? And if it's not really a great kind of answer, where you think, it might be a bit challenging, it might be a bit difficult, and sometimes it's a good idea to ask your friend or your partner what it is you do. And if they don't quite understand and can't, clearly define what you do either, then it's a sign that you need to narrow down and communicate better what it is you do. So don't fear narrowing down your services. You are not a tree. You can move, you can change. If it doesn't work for you, change it. So you're not stuck. And when you come up with your business name, try to make sure that it's not something that's going to hinder you if you do change your services a little bit. So obviously, if you're setting up a web development company and then you change it later down the track to be carpentry, that's going to be a little bit harder to name. But when it comes to business support services, you should be able to do that without too much difficulty. So offering too many services is number one. Now, number two is when you're on social media or in your emails and you are using incorrect grammar or spelling. Now, not everyone as a virtual assistant is a spelling or grammar freak, but unfortunately for your audience, they need to feel that you kind of are. So you need to be careful. And just like your audience, your clients, you notice when they have typos. You notice when things don't sound right. It makes things less professional feeling. So if they are offering copywriting services, for example, and their typing or their words are terrible, then you're obviously going to think, well, I don't really want to work with them. They don't know what they're talking about. Now, in the virtual assistance industry, it is about administration and various areas around business support services, where communication via the written word is very, very important. So you need to get it right. If you make a mistake, that's okay. The good thing about social media is that you can edit your posts. So if you make a mistake, just go back in and fix it. I do that all the time. We're not completely, able to get it right every time, but if you identify that there is an error there, please fix it. Also, my bugbear, don't put an apostrophe in VAs unless there's a possessive or it's an abbreviation. If you're talking about the VAs over in that building over there, there's no apostrophe. But if you're talking about the VA's course that they are running, then yes, that's their course, it's a possessive. Or the VA's going to the shops. So one VA is going to the shops. something like that. You know, they're the ones where you put your apostrophe in. Otherwise, please don't. Please don't. Okay, so another thing is when you are communicating, again, visually, written word, is having nothing in your email signature that shows who you are. There's nothing more frustrating than getting an email from someone that just says from Jess. Please don't assume that people know who the hell you are. So please put in your business name and your contact details, because that is where the easiest place for people to go to find your mobile number or your website address or your social media handles. Okay. So that was number 3. Number 4 is begging for work. If you see someone online saying that they need support with their business, please clarify that it is the type of support you can help them with before you respond. When people jump up and down and say, I can help, when it's actually not being clear at all what the prospect is looking for, you come across as very desperate and you are potentially wasting a lot of their time and your time. So be clear about who you want to work with and what capacity you want to work with them, so that you can filter that sort of thing and not look like someone who will just work for anyone doing any job, because that instantly lowers your value. Underpricing is the next one. Please look at why you need to price the way you need to price. Understand what your expenses are, how much time you have available, and what the value of the work is to your client. If you're competing based on price, you cannot compete based on quality and efficiency. It's impossible. You'll go under. So please compete on quality. Compete on quality. Be the best, but try to avoid competing on price. The next thing is being too informal. We become good friends with our virtual assistants, with our people who are working with us in our businesses. And it can get to the point where you become very good friends. But until that point, and even when you're at that point, you still need to remember that there is a business here that is being run, and you need to be respectful of boundaries. This can be defined differently in every single partnership that you have. So you need to read it and work accordingly. So some people will be way more casual than others. You need to actually look at what's appropriate for that particular relationship and stick to it. And that can form part of your target market as well. When you're looking at who you want to work with, think about how you want to be able to communicate with them and target the people that fit into your ideal criteria. The next thing that some VAs might do that make them less valuable is to not outsource themselves. They're not practicing what they preach. So you need to outsource so that you're more leveraged with your time and you're more able to focus on what your clients are needing to have done. You're more able to focus on networking and building your skills rather than sitting there doing the administration for your business that you cannot be making money doing. So make sure you outsource yourself. Plus, you learn so much from outsourcing. You learn how it feels to have to let stuff go, how it feels to trust somebody else, and how it feels if they don't provide the service at a high quality level. So these are all learning things, which is fantastic. So another thing, this is the second last, is using low quality images or branding. Most of us can spot a low budget graphic or logo a mile away. They look very, very generic and they're not tailored to your particular vibe. When it comes to your brand, it is all about who you are and the service that you're offering and the pain that you are easing. And your logo and your branding and your imagery and your wording need to consistently reflect this. So these are areas you can't skimp on. Please avoid skimping on them and don't go too generic and don't go for images that have watermarks on them, please. That is so annoying because it's quite illegal as well, and you should know better than that. And copying everyone else is the last one. Remember, you are unique. You have your own way of delivering your service. You have your own skills. Everything in your head is unique to you. Your experiences and what you bring to the table is unique. You don't need to copy anyone else. Just make it yours. Work with professionals who will help you unravel what it is that you can bring to the table to make a client say, where would I be without my VA? So those are my tips today to try to avoid these things, these traps that can make you appear less valuable to your audience, because we all want everyone to realise that virtual assistants, when they're doing the right thing, when they're being professional, are very, very valuable and can make a massive difference to another business's complete life and their success. So have a fantastic day. I hope you found that useful, and I'll see you on the next episode of Outsourcing Mysteries Exposed. Bye. Hey, thank you for listening to the Virtually Yours podcast, Outsourcing Mysteries Exposed. Between now and our next session, I know you're going to be hanging out to take some action on outsourcing in your business, so head on over to virtuallyyours.com.au and you can download some information there about the best ways to outsource for business growth. If you're a virtual assistant, make sure you join us. We have an amazing virtual assistant community at Virtually Yours, Aussie VAs connecting and helping each other grow. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you at the next podcast.